everyone, it's Hailey, and today I'm going to be characterizing myself. So by that, what I mean is I'm going to be talking about the book characters that I feel like kind of make up who I am, and basically the ones that I most identify with. So as I was looking at my bookshelf and picking off books that I felt like characters within them I identified with, I realized that this is kind of a hard video because, one, just because I identify with a character doesn't mean that I identify with all aspects of them. It just might be one singular thing about them that I just felt really connected with. And number two is I'm obviously seeing an idealized version of myself. Like, I am not going to really pick out my flaws and pick characters that represent my flaws. So these are just kind of the book characters that I like to think I really can identify with, and kind of like something about them represents who I am. So first up, we have two characters from the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling, and that is Hermione Granger and Luna Lovegood. I'm sure you probably could have guessed that it was these two characters, but Hermione, I feel like her endless strive for knowledge and wanting to be the best at everything is something that I really identify with, and kind of really just pushing yourself to be great at everything. And Luna, I feel like her just weirdness and kind of searching out the things that no one else searches for and believing in things that other people wouldn't believe in, I feel like that's something I identify with. Next up is Aubrey from Wanderlost by Jen Malone. I just could really relate to Aubrey. Like, I just read this book and I felt really connected to Aubrey the whole time, and how she stays at home all the time. She's really comfortable at home, and just that's kind of her life, and she's fine with it. But at the same time, she goes on this great adventure in Europe and is kind of breaking out of her comfort zone. And I feel like that's kind of what I'm doing with the backpacking trip that I'm going on this May. I'm just kind of breaking myself out of my comfort zone, going to see new things and going to places where they don't necessarily speak the language that I speak, and just kind of going for it and just letting myself be free. So that's kind of something I could relate to, just because I felt like she was really anxious about it, and really just, I love staying home. I'm a homebody 100%, so it was just, I felt like her wanting to stay home all the time and then finally going on this adventure was very relatable for me. Next up is Allison from Just One Day by Gail Forman. Allison was basically me in first year. Like, also Kath from Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. The two of them I feel like I just so identified with from my first year of university, especially because they're both in English, and it just felt very relatable for me. I just feel like they are characters that I totally, like, I read them in my second year of university, but if I had read them in my first year of university, I would have been like, who wrote a book about me? Like, who did this? Because they were so scared, and just like, university is so daunting, so I could totally understand that. Next up is Andy from The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. Honestly, from this video, I am learning that a lot of book characters, like a staggering amount of female book characters, have names that start with A. But anyways, that is besides the point. Andy is someone that I could identify with because she has had her whole life planned out, and then all of a sudden her plans are just thrown to the dust, and she is like, what do I do now? And like, as someone who likes to meticulously plan everything out, that was something that I could totally identify with, because I like to know, like, I'm gonna be here now, like, I'm gonna be blah blah blah. I like to have a solid plan, so the idea of not having a plan just terrifies me, so I totally identified with her. Next up is Fallon from The Valiant by Leslie Livingston. I actually just filmed a video about underrated reads, and I meant to include this in there because I feel like this needs to get a lot more love on BookTube than it's been getting, but this is about female gladiators, and Fallon is just such a badass character that I like to think that I identify with, like, that I am like her, because I feel like, I mean, it doesn't come across on my booktube because there's no reason for it, but I don't really take anyone's crap, and Fallon is totally like that, and she is her own person, and she is just like driven and powerful, and I loved that, and that was something that I feel like I could identify with, and I also feel like is entirely my idealized version of myself. Next up is Anne from Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery. I have a couple of classics on this pile, so I'm going to be getting to them now, but Anne is someone who, she has this crazy wild imagination, and I feel like I identify with that because as a kid I had a crazy wild imagination, and even now I think I do. Like, I mean, not to the point where I don't think I'd ever be able to write a fantasy novel, but at the same time, I feel like I'm creative and ambitious and stuff like that, and that kind of is what Anne is like, so I don't know. Also, I'm Canadian, so that goes with it. Next up is Sarah from A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This is another one where I just feel like Sarah is someone who likes to keep her imagination alive and keep kind of the wonder in her life no matter what her circumstances are, and I don't know, I just felt like that was something that I really felt connected with. Next up is Tellez and Scarlett from Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This one's interesting because Tellez and Scarlett are very different characters, but at the same time, I felt like I identified with both of them. A part of me identifies with Tellez kind of tendency to do whatever and be very rash and just make these wild decisions and do whatever, but a part of me also really identifies with Scarlett and her want for safety and kind of seeing the rational side of things and not just going crazy. So I feel like I'm kind of a combination of the two. And the final character on this list is Nina from Crooked Kingdom and Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I just picked up Crooked Kingdom because I loved this one so much. Like, I really did love Six of Crows, but Crooked Kingdom just blew me out of the water, so that's why I'm picking this one up. But Nina, once again, I feel like is just my idealized version of myself because I like to be sarcastic and witty and have this like humor and banter with people, and I feel like that is Nina, and at the same time she is really just strong and powerful and amazing, and I like to just imagine that I'm Nina. So those are all the book characters that I identify with. Like I said, this is kind of a hard video to film because, I mean, it's hard to see yourself in characters and kind of explain why you see yourself in characters. So I hope that this made sense to you guys, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!